This week we're looking at number 10 in our series, going through the book of Joshua, the lessons of faith from Joshua. This is the true Joshua, and we are given just the first 3 verses in Joshua to look at, as well as all the other biblical material. So let's look quickly at that. Joshua 1:1-3. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord spoke to Joshua, the son of Nun, who had been Moses' assistant. He told him, "My servant Moses has died, so go and cross the Jordan, you and all the people, and enter the country I'm giving the Israelites. As I promised Moses, everywhere you set foot will be land I am giving to you." That's it. That's what we get. And we have the whole of the book of Joshua to think about, but I wonder what we're really meant to understand by the words, the true Joshua. I wish we did have some more information as to what Joshua did and how he talked to God and what his personal experience was, because that way we would know a little bit more of what the true Joshua really was and how he lived his life. We have all the accounts of his exploits, the various military campaigns that he carried out, if you want to call it that, and how they settled the land and how he divided it all up, all this from a very national, if you want, point of view. But what about the true Joshua? We don't really get an insight into him, except that he is a man of great faith, a man of action, one who was a great leader of his people, and so on. But what of the true Joshua? I wonder. We would have to speculate a little bit. Maybe you should try doing that, thinking of what it must have been like to lead all those people and to deal with all the issues, all the problems, all the challenges of people who were a very disparate bunch, if I could say it that way. It's a very much not an easy task to be a leader of so many people and to keep them going in the right direction. So that's perhaps the first point when we think about the true Joshua. But then I also want to consider how God used him to fulfill his plan. As I've said before, I'm not sure that Joshua was meant to pick up his sword and go fighting in battle all the time. Especially as we saw last time, God comes to Joshua when he's old and says, "I'll do it. I'm going to go and take the rest of the land. I'm going to drive these other people out." I think that was the plan from the beginning. But as God works through people, us included, he has to deal with us in our humanity. And the same with Joshua, same with the children of Israel, same with everybody that has any kind of relationship to him. God has to say, okay, I'm dealing with less than ideal material, but at least let's try and get people from here to here, not just physically but spiritually. And I think as we think of who you are, your true self, we're talking about the true Joshua, but what about the true you? Who are you? What do you stand for? Who are you really deep down inside when nobody else is looking? Who are you? I think that is perhaps a very telling kind of issue for all of us in terms of our relationship with God. Are we being honest with him? Are we allowing himself to work with us, or are we keeping parts of ourselves to ourselves and say, okay, God, I don't want you working in this area. Let's keep this bit off limits, or something like that. That would be a real tragedy. So as we've seen in our studies through Joshua, there's much to admire in terms of his bravery and courage. Remember back there in the beginning, chapter 1 that we just referenced. Later on, God says, be brave, be strong. I'm going to be with you. That was an encouragement he needed to have. And we need to have that same encouragement from God. But most of all, we need to learn to trust in him and not to be confident in our own selves. Because let's be very frank, we are not to be trusted. We are the ones who are frail, fallible, sinful. But God is the one who can change us from the inside out so that we can be our true selves. And may we, all of us, desire that right now so that we can live good lives for the Lord and be ready to welcome him when he comes.